In the news tonight, Fijiana will compete in the bronze medal playoffs. 11-month-old infant, the youngest COVID victim. And land bill set to benefit Itoke landowners.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nana.
Ulavinaka, Fiji. The Fijiana Sevens side still has a chance to win a medal at the Tokyo Olympic Games. The Sayasi fully coached side tested a much-experienced Black Fern squad but went down 22-17 in the semi-final earlier today. Karalaini Tavi with the details.
Fiji played with so much confidence, with Vasiti Solikoviti powering her way through with 2 tries. They also started well in the second half with their monstrous tackles and defense, holding the Black Ferns in their own territory. New Zealand then looked to speedster Portia Woodman to level 12-all with 3 minutes left to play. Both teams managed to put a try each before full time, but New Zealand proved to be a better side, scoring a try at extra time to give them the win. Speaking exclusively to FBC Sports from Tokyo before the semi-final, Fijiana coach Sayasi Fuli said his side has what it takes to beat any team in the world.
I believe there is no maybe. We always have to be mentally strong, psychologically ready for what's in front of us. We know that nothing will come easy. Everything will be tough. There's that spirit amongst the girls that we've taught them to, to be composed.
Fiji will face Great Britain in the bronze medal match, which kicks off at 8:30 p.m. Karalaini Tavi, FBC Sports.
Fiji confirmed its youngest COVID-19 death yesterday, an 11-month-old, despite the rarity of such severe cases among infants. Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says this indicates that the infection level in Viti Levu is high. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Permanent Secretary says that doctors overseeing the baby's care confirm that he did die because of COVID-19.
And we know that once there is a very high level of infections reached in the community, these rare events do occur. It is an absolute tragedy when the most vulnerable in our community, our babies, become victims of this awful disease.
He adds they are following the signs and advice of the World Health Organization regarding the vaccination of those below the age of 18. The Permanent Secretary says among the deaths announced this week was a second nurse who was a frontliner.
This is another frontliner colleague that we knew and loved, and our sympathies are extended to their families and to all the families who have lost a loved one. She was not vaccinated, and in line with government policy, she was on leave at the time that she became infected.
Fiji's 7-day average of COVID deaths has increased to 9 per day.
And our daily test positivity remains high. Both these indicators indicate that there's widespread community transmission in the Suva-Nosori containment zone.
The ministry confirms that nobody in Fiji has died from COVID-19 after being fully vaccinated. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
About 313 COVID-19 positive people are in isolation facilities around the country. Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Chemesa Tundravu says 84 of these people are either in severe or critical stage. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Chief Medical Advisor says 64 individuals in these facilities require oxygen and 6 are on ventilators.
In terms of health services, all our major health facilities remain fully functional in all divisions, providing emergency services, admissions and inpatient care for COVID as well as non-COVID patients. General outpatient services continue in our health centers and subdivisional hospitals.
Dr. Tundravu says a patient care flow pathway has been established.
This essentially means is if a patient is diagnosed with COVID-19, that patient will be directed to a care plan where the patient will be either be admitted at home and followed up through telehealth, or admitted in an intermediate care facility such as the field hospital and cared for by our team, or admitted into our main hospital for high-level care.
34 of these patients are admitted at the Lotoko Hospital. In Suva, 88 patients are admitted at the FEMAT Field Hospital, and 191 are admitted at CWM, St. Giles, and McCoy.
The ministry is engaging many volunteers and civil servants in running the services and supporting the technical clinical teams. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Prime Minister and the Minister for Economy say Fiji needs to move away from the old-fashioned thinking that Itoke land is not fit for commercial investment. These comments were made in Parliament following a lengthy debate on Bill 17 for an act to amend the Itoke Land Trust Act 1940. The government argued that the old-fashioned thinking is one of the reasons why there's been little investment on Itoke land. Koroi Tandulala reports.
The Prime Minister dispelled misinformation about the bill from the opposition, saying that despite the amendment, Itoke land will remain at the hands of its owners.
The main point of Bill 17, Mr. Speaker, with respect to the removal of consent for mortgages, is that the removal of consent does not in any way affect the rights or interests of the Itoke landowners.
Minister for Lands Chone Usamate also highlighted the importance of Bill 17.
Why is Bill 16 and Bill 17 been done? It protects the rights of the landowners and at the same time it speeds up the process to help us into economic recovery.
Bainimarama reiterated the amendment will also ensure better utilization of Itoke land that will eventually benefit the land-owning unit.
Nothing will bring down his or own ownership rights, except that there will be more interest in leasing Itoke land because there will be less bureaucracy attached to Itoke land.
Of course, this bill is subject to interpretation, but let's talk facts and let's speak the truth.
Minister for Economy Ayasad Kiyum adds they are trying to change the image of traditionally owned land.
The philosophy is that you can have economic development even with Itoke land title intact. And that's the philosophy we're trying to follow. And the way to make sure that we have that philosophy is that you make Itoke land attractive for investment purposes.
Parliament yesterday passed amendments to the Itoke Land Trust Amendment Act to make investment and development easier by removing requirements for consent. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
And to our COVID-19 update for tonight, Fiji had 1,163 new COVID-19 infections for the period ending 8 a.m. yesterday. The Health Ministry also recorded 6 new COVID-19 deaths between the 19th and the 29th of July. Fiji has recorded 28,590 cases since April of this year. There are now 21,109 active cases in isolation, with 7,195 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll stands at 233. The vaccination campaign continues around the country. As of yesterday, 473,716 people, or 81% of the population, has received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. 131,979 people, or 22.5%, have received the second. The 5 most vaccinated areas include Mba and Rewa, which are 100% first jabbed. Next are Nanonga, Nandi and Naitasiri. Upper Head Minister clarifies Sawani border issue, and RDT results questionable. Welcome back. Selling of goods at the Sawani border are only a temporary measure, as vendors will continue to sell in municipal markets once containment borders open. This was confirmed by Local Government Minister Premila Kumar following a motion from the opposition in Parliament yesterday on issues relating to the Naitasiri vendors at the border. Senyani Boila reports.
At least to provide...
Opposition MP Aseri Ronro moved a motion requesting the government to allocate $300,000 to help facilitate the needs of Naitasiri vendors at the Sawani border.
So the need for the increase is to ask government to consider providing the necessary facilities to cater for those vendors that come down from villages.
Kumar turned down the request, saying that the Sawani border is just temporary.
The member went around the bush. I think his main interest was Sawani and not really Vunindawa. And issues he raised was for Sawani. It's a temporary measure, and I'm sure the vendors from Vunindawa would like to sell at Nosori when the borders open.
She says that plans are underway for further development in Vunindawa.
So this year, we intend to use $5,000 just for the public consultation work in Vunindawa to really do the assessment to understand if you're going to put up a big market there, or small market, or whatever size, whether it will be utilized or not.
The Ministry of Local Government has been allocated a total of $12.7 million in the 2021-2022 national budget. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Rapid diagnostic tests or RDT results should not be used to clear a person from isolation. Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says RDTs can be used outside of traditional laboratory test setups and produces quick results. However, they work best when the limitations of the tests are clearly understood by the user. Dr. Fong says it's crucial for people to visit screening clinics to get tested and put on the appropriate care pathway where they will be monitored by health teams.
If you have symptoms and you test negative on the rapid diagnostic test, you should still assume that you have COVID-19 and self-isolate. We know that these rapid tests have a high risk of producing a false negative result than the regular gold standard molecular testing, which is used by the ministry to confirm all negative rapid tests conducted at the screening clinics.
The Constitutional Officers Commission is putting together a panel to go through the applications for the heads of the various disciplined forces. Positions that need substantive appointments include the Commissioner of Police, the Commander of the Republic of the Fiji Military Forces, and the Commissioner of the Fiji Corrections Services. Prime Minister and Commission Chair Woreng Bainimarama confirms applications closed early this year.
There will be no further advertisement. The names, the commission is going through the names right now. The secretariat, I mean, is going through the names, and we also getting a panel together to do the interviews, and that will be done soon.
Fiji's permanent representative to the United Nations, Satyendra Prasad, has commended the support rendered to Pacific Island countries, including Fiji, by the United Nations during these times. The challenges presented by COVID-19 has allowed for the support of the UN to small developing states to rise to another level. Lina Rees reports.
When many countries face disruptions as COVID-19 spreads across populations, the UN assisted with access to support in healthcare and response to the deadly virus.
Health support in the healthcare in response to COVID. They helped us find ways. They created pathways that allowed medical supplies, ventilators, flow of essential goods to carry on occurring across the Pacific when our airspaces had been shut down.
As Fiji continues to battle the second wave of the virus, the UN office in Suva is also looking at protection of the most vulnerable in communities during this time.
The way it has been the last few months, it has been impacted severely in a whole range of different ways. And we found that some of the already vulnerable groups were made even more vulnerable during this pandemic. So there's a particular focus on women and girls and children. We had seen an increase in violence and domestic violence and gender-based violence. And so everything from supporting helplines to supporting NGOs and government in providing services to victims.
Prasad and Samarasina also discussed the upcoming COP26 meeting and how the Pacific SIDS are gearing up efforts to have a joint voice at this crucial event. Lina Rees, FBC News.
Still to come in sports, Tuimamba accredits success to late grandfather. And Pacific Sprint King qualifies for next round. This and more coming up. Leading sports, there's always a story behind every successful person, and for Fiji 7 sensation Amaniasi Tuimamba, it begins from the village of Yasawa Irara. Hailing from humble beginnings, Tuimamba was raised by his grandparents and was taught to appreciate the little things in life. As Karalaini Tavi reports, Tuimamba has people behind his rugby journey and how he won gold at the Olympics.
Raised by a single mom, it was Tuimamba's grandfather who had been a father figure and taught him the traits of life.
It was very hard to grow up and sacrifice. Like, we just have to, we just enjoy what we have in our family.
There were days when he went to school without any lunch.
What they're going through, we can't do anything about it. And I feel the pain that he's going through. I know he's struggling a lot to feed the family.
It was from those experiences that Tuimamba vowed to build a better life for his family.
The parents of 7's gold medalist Sireli Mangala are encouraging parents to always support their children's dreams and aspirations. Sisa and Rosa Ramuandrao this week witnessed their son's dream become reality as he represented Fiji in the Tokyo Olympics. Eleanor Turangaivu reports.
Most of the time he was the TV for the Fiji 7's team. He was them in his mind, in his heart. And he really, one day he want to wear the white jersey. Into 3, broken the bones, yeah, and broken his arm. When he's facing that problem, I'm staying beside him.
Happy, and I know that everything, God.
The Ramuandraos are urging parents to never disparage their children's dreams.
They really want us, They really want our parents to support them, staying beside them.
Mangala left the Dalai Lambasa home earlier this year to achieve his dream. With the national team now back in the country, home is next for the 7 star.
We really want him to come because, how many months we've been away from Rasi?
With the gold medal to show for his achievement, Mangala has conquered a feat never before attained in his family. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC Sport.
The Fijiana created the biggest upset of the Olympic Games in Tokyo yesterday, beating defending champions Australia 14-12 in the women's rugby quarter-final last night. It's a historical moment for the Fijiana side. Fijiana head coach Sayasi Fuli says they will need to be strategic and work according to their game plan.
What we planned, we executed our plan well to come out from the pool and meeting Australia, the defending gold medalist champion from Rio. We played them in the quarterfinals, and that's how we played the game yesterday. They give their hearts out. They play with what we told them to do, execute the plan with precision.
The fastest man in the Pacific, Banuve Tambakaudoro, has qualified for the next round of the 100-meter race at the Tokyo Games. Tambakaudoro ran a season best of 10.59 seconds in his preliminary heat. The Pacific Games champion finished in 4th place and will feature in round 1. Tambakaudoro went to the Games with a season best of 11.20 seconds. Team Fiji swimmer Cheyenne Rover finished 3rd in her heat at the Tokyo Olympics. Rover competed in the women's 50-meter freestyle last night. She made a perfect start and hung on for a 3rd-place finish in her Olympics debut. The Nandi swimmer clocked a time of 27.11 seconds. Rover says swimming alongside some of the best in the world has been a good learning experience.
It's amazing to be able to share this platform and this atmosphere and environment with the best in the world. And I think, being in that situation and that environment, it just it motivates you on a different level.
Fiji football's golden boy, Roy Krishna, has flown out today to join his club ATK Mohan Bagan in India.
Just playing in the big occasion against some great players. So, yeah, a lot to learn. But like I said, myself, and will be an exciting one.
The Warriors made a late comeback to beat the West Tigers 18-16 in last night's NRL clash. After the Tigers led 10-0 at the break, the Warriors scored 3 tries in a span of 16 minutes in the second half to claim the win. The Brisbane Broncos put up an impressive performance to beat Derby rival North Queensland Cowboys 37-18 at Suncorp Stadium last night. Kotoni Stags scored a double and 18-year-old beast Xavier Willison made his debut in what was another impressive night for the resurgent club. A trough of low pressure with cloud and showers remains over the Fiji group and is expected to affect the country until later tomorrow. In the west, occasional showers and isolated thunderstorms with isolated heavy falls. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, it was a cloudy morning with showers throughout the afternoon. Looking at the north, similar conditions were experienced. At sea, northwest to southwest winds 20 to 25 knots, gusting to 30 knots at times. Rough seas, poor visibility in areas of heavy showers and thunderstorms. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 40 minutes past midnight and low tide will be at 7:03 a.m. Sunrise will be at 6:33. For tomorrow, occasional showers over most places. Isolated heavy falls and thunderstorms expected in the afternoon. And looking further ahead to Monday, cloudy periods with brief showers over the southern and eastern parts of Fiji, mainly fine elsewhere. And recapping our main stories, Fijiana will compete in the bronze medal playoffs. 11-month-old infant, the youngest COVID victim, and land bill set to benefit Itoke landowners. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we are asking, should those spreading misinformation be charged? Visit our FBC News website to take part. And remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our social media accounts. You can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news and sports and listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Modemanda.